ink-a-dink, 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 ink-a-dink. Wow.
Hello there. Okay. Whew-wee. Okay. Okay, we got Walter the Forest Cat came back to visit, and or as we call her, WTF. And she's going to want to do a little dusting while you're here. Use that feather duster that you got. You want to clean up a little bit, or Basil? I think it's going to be another. Well, she's sniffing around. She might be going to clean a little bit, or. Sorry, maid's night out again. She's on not a 40-hour work week. She's on a 40-second work week, and that's what we pay her for. So there you go. Let me just make sure we're on the air. We're on the air, and blessed Sunday morning to you. Welcome to Basil BuddhaCat Presents! Exclamation point. I'm David Stevenson. I'm Basil's co-host. Interpreter. I do speak cat. All 981,000, what are we up to now, Basil? 981,614 different words, thoughts, ideas. And so Walter's Basil's co-host, interpreter, and chief gopher, and he never fails to remind me of that's my place in life. And I get about 20% take of the profits of the show. And we've got we're really racking up the advertisers, because not only now we have Schweppes Schwepper Essence, we have not A&W root beer, but P A&W root beer. And it's that extra letter which adds to the sparkle of this beverage. P A&W root beer is light years better than A&W root beer. And since both of them apparently, at least Schweppes, Schweppervescence, is a Pepsi product, we're hankering for the whole Pepsi account actually. So wish us luck on that one. We may get it. And we also have our old favorite, stuck around here somewhere, Tootsie Roll, Basil's favorite candy, and sample, about a 10-week-old sample of Basil's favorite candy, and both of them, both the Tootsie Roll and the P A&W root beer, Paw root beer, they're in the they're right there in Basil's cat pan. So there's no doubt in anyone's mind that those two products are highly esteemed by the host of this show. Now, we're also, with those two, with the Schweppes being a Pepsi product, we're angling for Pepsi. We want to get the whole Pepsi account and have all their products, because like P A&W root beer, Pepsi used to be called Epsi, and it wasn't a very popular one. But then they found samples of it in Basil BuddhaCat's litter box, and recognizing that wasn't Epsi, that was Pepsi. Same principle. It's now a highly regarded beverage. Now, we also have, not to be confused with any smell that's in Basil's litter pan, although they're probably about equally prized smells. When we did our Superb Owl broadcasts back in January, we're now into the football season, and Anheuser-Busch has been a bit anxious with the NFL because of the snafu with some of their players being, let's just say, less than stellar examples of humanity with their behavior. Not bad people, just bad behavior. We're angling for Anheuser-Busch's, and besides, football's so passé anyway. I mean, Basil's been telling me now for years, every time football season is into full swing like it is now, Basil says, is it not hockey season yet? Basil's just not a big fan of football, even though he did great coverage of the Superb Owl and all its participants, including Petrel Manning and the other guys that were participating in the big game from the Audubon Society in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Basil's not giving up. Basil thinks he's going to get, and we're going to get, and there's some cha-ching there also, that we're going to get the sponsorship of Anheuser-Busch, Budweiser beers, and all the other Anheuser-Busch products. And football is going to be a thing of the past. So, now, are we going to spend a little bit more time on this business with, well, we couldn't figure out whether it was, we had the call-ins, we had Lyndsay Vonn, who may or may not have been a fake pseudonym of Lyndsay Vonn. We also got a call-in from someone who purported to be a member of the family of Tiger Woods, well, one of his parents. And that fellow's name was Phillip Penis. Or was it Philipina? One or the other. And the big flap was with Dan Jenkins, who's a reporter that published an article in which he had an imaginary conversation with Tiger Woods, asked him some questions. Tiger Woods responded, and wasn't a badly done fake article. I mean, we did one during the Republican convention in 2012 that actually gave Dan Jenkins his idea for this article. He did. You owe us, Dan. We had a fellow by the name of Clint Eastwood. Now, Clint Eastwood had appeared at the Republican convention and stood beside an empty chair where purportedly the President of the United States was sitting, although couldn't see him, obviously. And Clint Eastwood had a one-sided conversation with the empty chair. And he probably just thought he was talking to an empty chair and couldn't get anybody else to talk to him, which is kind of how it turned out afterwards, after he did that interview. But so we had the empty chair Clint Eastwood on our show, and gave him a complete and thorough opportunity to defend himself and his little play on the Republican National Convention, and gave him every opportunity to say whatever he could from his empty chair, and he did not too good. So, matter of fact, amongst other things, had he had the opportunity, he might have said, "What the?" Could have. He might have been looking around for Walter the Forest Cat, who we lovingly call WTF. There might have been. Well, let me think now. Ted Cruz was at the convention, and Ted Cruz might have called in, or if he had the opportunity, he might have called in and said, "What the?" Okay, might have been chomping on a Tootsie Roll while he was calling in. They had a musical group there called Three Harmonicas in the Key of Nothing. All three of those guys would have called in and said, "What the?" And since they kind of keep out people that are of any dissenting mind at the Republican convention nowadays, they don't let anybody in that doesn't sign a statement on the way in saying that President Obama, in my opinion, is a Muslim, communist, socialist, Marxist guy from either from Kenya or Indonesia, one or the other. Certainly not Hawaii. So if those guys were to call in, if any of those folks were to call in that signed that pledge that kept them from talking out loud, they might have come in and said, "What the fuck?" Okay, so do you want me to repeat that? All right, they might have called in and said, "What the fuck?" So, are we still on Tiger Woods? Or are we going to move on to Tiger Woody? Tiger's Wood? Or Tiger Wood do anyone? Basil says, "What the?" He said, "Let's move on." Let's move on to Megan Fox. And Megan Fox has a charming little video on a website called Raw Story. We found a little video of Megan Fox. Now, Megan Fox, amazingly enough, does believe in Fox. She does believe in the existence of not just her, Megan Fox, but also in animals called foxes. She also believes in dinosaurs. She took a little trip through a museum of natural history, and might have been Chicago, I'm not sure. It was a pretty sizable museum of natural history, and went through it and commented on the subject of evolution. So you can look her up, Megan Fox, not to be confused with the actor Megan Fox, but also MEGANFOX. You might find her on Raw Story, her video that she did. She had a cameraman come with her, and the cameraman took some took some footage of the inside of the museum using a handheld camera, and periodically Megan Fox would become Megan Mocks. She mocked the concept of evolution. She doesn't believe that evolution is actually a science. She says that every animal that ever lived on the face of the earth is exactly the way God designed it. And I guess this falls under the new concept. They don't talk about creationism anymore because that kind of got stale in people's minds. So they came up with a new example of same old creationism, and they call it intelligent design. And as it goes with intelligent design, God created everything on the was it the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day? Could be the seventh day, because they have a notion that unlike everyone else nowadays, God rested on the seventh day. And while God was busy doing his thing, he created every animal that's ever lived on the face of the earth. And pretty good trick. So she says, based on that notion, she says, yeah, we've got evidence of dinosaurs here. So dinosaurs not only did exist, but dinosaurs still exist. They're hiding away somewhere. Maybe they got them, cached in a cave somewhere or stuck at the bottom of the ocean. But there's still dinosaurs around. And nowadays we just call dinosaurs dragons. And dragons are what really they should have been called all along, because dragons is a much more Hans Brinker. It's much more kids storytelling kind of beast than a dinosaur. And she says they're a lot more fun to talk about. So she says you can call them dinosaurs, you can call them dragons, same thing. Now, she also noted that there are some examples of some bones and some remnants of animals that we say have walked the earth and are no longer here. They've been extinct for quite some time, and she gave a couple of examples. She saw some dinosaur bones, and she says, "There you go. That proves the existence of dragons, or at least dragon bones." And she saw a trilobite, which was an animal that we consider to have gone extinct quite a while ago, or actually have evolved into things that look kind of similar to it, that have the same genetic makeup, just through evolution have changed and evolved. She says, no, there's no such thing as evolution. So a trilobite is actually the way these animals called trilobites have always been the way that they are, haven't changed. And like the dinosaurs or dragons, she says they're around somewhere, we just can't find them. And she talks about evolution a little further and says that you can't prove evolution. You can't prove that something happened 3 billion years ago. Why can't you prove it? Because there's no videotape evidence of it. And gosh, she says, if it happened, there would have been videotape evidence of it. And since there's no, I'm not making this up, Basil says he's holding up his paw and he's saying, as God is his witness, she said this. She said that if anything had taken place further back than 6,000 years, there would be videotape evidence of it, because God controls, amongst other things, video cameras. So there would be video evidence of anything that had happened, if anything happened, which she says didn't happen prior to 6,000 years ago. So that's it. She says, where's the videotape? You've got no evidence of it. You've got no evidence of evolution. You've got no evidence of anything that... these animals have all been around, but they've all been around for 6,000 years because God made them in that first 7 days. First 6 days before God rested on the seventh day. as we all know. So she says that that it's absolutely what? Okay. Basil says he's getting thirsty, so while he takes a sip, he wants you to take a look at his new fish tank and his previous fish tank. And his previous fish tank, the one that's been here for a number of years, that he had imported from a little country called RCA, is actually contained in what used to be a television. The fish tank, the tubes of the television were taken out, and Basil had a special team of experts come in and place a fish tank inside the television console. And Basil says that's the best show on television, exclusive, of course, of Basil BuddhaCat Presents! Exclamation point. What about Progressive Soup? Basil said, meow, 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 meow. Says, nah, just Basil BuddhaCat Presents! Exclamation point. So, okay, without further ado, we're going to go to our videotape to prove that it's true, and show you our new fish tank and our old fish tank. And we'll be back in just a trice. Okay, we're back. Pretty cool, huh? Basil, we haven't shown sad cat diaries and sad dog diaries in a while. Basil says, I am so tired of whiny cats and whiny dogs. I just can't get over how whiny cats and dogs are. Matter of fact, says I'm going to spend the next 2 minutes whining about whiny cats like sad cat diary and whiny dogs like sad dog diary. Okay, well, let's get in a couple commercials while we're here, and that'll fill out the hour, fill out the half hour. Seems like an hour, doesn't it? But, well, you know, we're missing one of our sponsors that we haven't done in a while. We've got the 12 ball, but I don't see the 8 ball around. And, well, we can only do half of that now. 12 ball. Now with 50% more 8 ball. Okay. Hold on. Blessed morning to you. Welcome to Basil BuddhaCat Presents. I'm David Stevenson. How may we help you? How are we doing for time? Okay. Basil is actually, it's actually Ted Cruz calling in again. And he says we need to quote him a little bit louder on, what the? Okay. And it's also, actually, next to Ted Cruz he claims to be. Now, Tweety, he's got it down that this is Ted Cruz's phone number in his office in Washington, in his Senate office. But there's no way of knowing who's in there with him. So he says, Senator Ted Cruz says that he's got a guy named Joe Nike in there, and Joe Nike. Ted Cruz says Joe Nike is a very important member of the Nike Corporation. And how do we know that? We don't. But Joe Nike says, he's saying that Joe Nike says, you think you've got Nike Corporation as a corporate sponsor? He says, what the fuck? Okay. So, well, you know, I don't know. Tweety doesn't know. We don't know if it's anybody named Joe Nike, or certainly we don't know if it's anybody that is a member of the Nike family. So, I'll tell you. Well, you know what? We're going to have Joe call in on his real phone. And in the interim, Basil has a response to you, and that is, what the? Okay. And now we got the band. We got the Stars and Bars band here as our own personal band on the show. And in unison, they're going to say to you, what the? What the? And what the? And in unison, they say, what the? Okay. So, and with that, thank you for tuning in to Basil BuddhaCat Presents. The rat says hello, and we shall see you next week. Thanks for watching. Have a blessed morning.
They say they'd rob your grandma blind on Wall Street, on Wall Street. Fritter her away her Medicare on Wall Street. And Pharma Oil and their pet fox don't care if she lives in a box, so long as they wear platinum jocks on Wall Street, on Wall Street. Meow.